is the Byberry BI2052. It calls itself the Byberry Rescue Tool. There are some great rescue tools out there. Most people would think about the Leatherman Rescue Tool, which is fantastic, but it's $100. This channel is more about budget, and I think looking at this $20 piece, does it really stack up? Is it a good rescue tool? Well, we're going to put it through many of its paces. Welcome. This is Haku EDC. First off, let's go through a little bit of what's on it. Then we'll do some specs. Then we'll do some testing of it. And then I'll give you some pros and cons. And then I'll give you my final thoughts. So let's look at what it is. This is approximately a 3-inch long tool. So it's fairly small. As you can tell, it fits in my hand very well. Let's look at the outside tools first, because those are the things that you will see. Here is a hook, and I'm assuming that this hook is for cutting things with, grabbing rope to cut with. None of these lock, so these are all slip jointed. So you need to consider that. On this side, you have your scalpel. Now, scalpels are notorious for being sharp and able to cut things in both things that are precise and things that are in just very specific. On this side here, you have a file, and this works really well. It is a diamond stock kind of file, and what I call a box opener, and it's pretty darn sharp. We're going to be putting these things through the test as I stated. This is your glass breaker. If anyone has been on this channel, I've done a couple glass breaker tests, and I will say this one looks good. It probably could break glass if you can get enough leverage. The issue with glass breakers is that unless you're outside of the car, you're not going to get very much leverage from being inside the car, especially if you're the driver or passenger, and it's somewhat of a panicking situation. But we'll do some testing of that also. The other thing that's on the outside of this are tweezers. Now, why would you need tweezers on a rescue tool? Well, there's lots of things that happen. There are lots of bugs out there that crawl into your skin and that you want to be able to get them out. There are a lot of things when you're cutting wood that you can get splinters inside you, and these tweezers go well with helping to solve those issues. Once again, it goes right in here. As we open it up, you open up and there are scissors. And these scissors are what are the things that make this the rescue tool that it is. If you look very closely, right there, I don't know if you can see that there, these scissors here on this side have a little bit of that sort of gradient to them. So it makes them a little rougher. And this side is really a pure scissors piece. While these aren't what I would call spring-loaded, it does have some sort of flip switch in it, and I forget what they call it. But it's kind of just flippy. Those are the things that are in this. There's one thing that I'm missing, I forgot to talk about. Let's see if I can find it here. It is this right here. This is supposed to be able to be put onto a keychain. So I'm going to take out this particular lanyard hole. It's a pretty small hole for a lanyard. Let's do the weight of it. To see how much it weighs, let's put it on the scale. The scale here says it's 5.46 ounces. That's pretty heavy for this size device. And those of you that are into grams, it's 154 grams. I think you can put it on a keychain, but it's going to be a big honking thing to put on your chain. This is pretty heavy, as I stated. Now let's do a few things to show how well it cuts. So this is just a little magazine piece here. And no issues at all cutting it with the scissors, which I'm mostly going to be focused in on right now. Ties, zip ties, and there seems to be no issues with the zip ties. And this is paracord with the wire in it. So it's 10 and 1 or 11 and 1. I forget the exact number of things on it. There's a little wire inside of it. So we're going to see how it does with that. Right there. And let's go to the tip to see how it goes with the tip of it, just to see. Tip works well. This is just a nylon cloth. It's not quite as thick as you would have with a seatbelt, but I like to use it because it's thin. It sometimes can bind up a lot of scissors. So we're going to try these. First off, I'm going to try it starting with the back. See, that's what happened. It gets bind up. But if we start in the middle, you have to start in the middle and not in the back. So you just have to be careful with it. Yep, starting in the middle. Now we're going to get through some leather. And this is just a strip of leather. And what I like to do with the leather, I like to cut it this way a little bit first to see how it goes. Then I cut it this way. So that works well with that. Now things are going to get a little tougher. This is just a piece of plastic. The question is, can I cut through this piece of plastic? We will see. It does, but just as you can tell, it does cut, but it takes a little bit of effort. Sometimes you have to cut through a hose. This is a little small plastic hose that I've used. I do various kinds of experiments with stuff. And let's see how it cuts through that. Well, how about at the tip? And we haven't gotten to the other things that we're going to cut with. But we have that hose. And the last thing I'm going to cut with these scissors here are, I use this for when I'm wanting to lay down some cords and I want them just to go through things. So use that for that. One last thing we're going to cut with the scissors are just this little pieces of plastic here that you might get in the mail. And it's not an issue. So it does cut things really well so far. And now we're going to get into cutting with some of the other tools that we have.
A few moments later. Later.
We've seen what it can and cannot do, the Byberry rescue tool. Now let's go through the pros and cons based upon what we've seen. These are pretty darn good scissors. They will work in most circumstances that you want to need them. Just be aware that they're small lengthwise at 2 inches or so. Then this is a pretty darn good box opener. And the diamond file works good. I'm not sure what it's there for. It's not in a really good position to sharpen any knives or anything, but there may be something else that you may want to have to sharpen beyond your nails, which is what I would use it for. I tried using the glass breaker. While it does break glass, as I stated earlier, I would not trust it in any sort of emergency kind of situations unless I was on the outside of the glass and I was trying to get in. There's a couple of things that are negative about this glass breaker. Once again, it's not locking, so just be aware of that. Locking ones allow you to get much more bigger stress, bigger impact upon the glass if that's something that you need. The other way that I would use this, if I had a hammer or something that was strong, I would put this against the glass and then hit the hammer with the back end of it. That would make it much easier to break the glass. On this side, the scalpel is excellent. There are 2 extra ones that come inside here. They're fairly easy to replace and to meaning to buy them and then to replace them. So just be aware of that. If you need a knife, this is also really good for very fine work because of the tip of it. It's just super good for any kind of fine work that you may want to have. And the last thing we're going to talk about is this thing here, or not the last thing, but one of the last things, is I'm not sure any benefit of this. I tried to do a rope with it. I've tried to cut it. I think it needs to be sharpened in this particular area. Or I would just take this out. You can undo it and then put and find a knife that you want to put inside of it. That would be the best thing to do for this. If you want to use it as kind of more of a rescue tool. The lanyard is just a lanyard, and it'll work okay for like a lanyard, but it's not something that I think I would use unless I had a really sturdy keychain tool, something to put it through there. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is that you can unloosen these things and take them out, and that's good to be able to use just some kind of 4mm things. You have to lock on both, you have to have one on both sides. Take it out, and as I said, I would replace this. Is this one here? Wrong one again. I will replace this with a knife or some other tool here. I don't think that this is the least useful of all the tools. So that's the sort of pros and cons of this Byberry. Now my finishing thoughts. $20. This is something that if you have a rescue kit or an extensive first aid kit, this would go into that. If it's something where you're working in a warehouse where you need to cut a lot of things off pallets, different sorts of materials, and some of those you just want to just cross the top and do that, versus opening up a pair of scissors or getting out something, but you just want to go across the top a long way, then I think this is the tool for you. For most people, I'm not sure that this tool is going to be anything much more than a desk caddy tool. In other words, you put it on side your desk, you get your Amazon boxes, you get your other boxes in, you get little pieces of wires that you want to cut, and that's what this can be used for. I really like this particular Byberry rescue tool. It has some great uses, but it may be limited for a few people. Once again, this is Haku EDC. Trying to grow the channel, trying to get up to 2,000 before July 4th. Thanks for watching. See you in the future.